obstacle, and I shall remove it.
Hello guys, it's Alan the Collector, and for this review we're going to be taking a look at the Four Horsemen Studios Deluxe Figura Obscura Ganesha action figure. And for starters, we have to take a look at this amazing packaging. It features artwork of the Hindu god Ganesha floating in front of a golden shrine. Beneath that we have Ganesha's name and the Four Horsemen Studio logo in gold foil, and then on the side of the packaging it shows off more of that shrine, which is all part of a magnetic slipcover that can be fully expanded, with the opposite side showing off more incredible artwork of the inside of that shrine with a full spread of delicious offerings. When we get that out of the way, we can actually see Ganesha front and center, looking pretty detailed, surrounded by some accessories. The back of the packaging features a bio of our Hindu god for your reading pleasure, and below that we get credit for the folks at Four Horsemen Studios responsible for this figure, who seem to knock it out of the park every single time. The right side of the packaging features Ganesha with his older brother Kartikeya above, flying around the world on his peacock, while the other side of the packaging shows off his parents Shiva and Parvati. Finally, we get some legal details on the bottom with some ornate details at the top, and I must say, if the packaging looks this good, I'm willing to bet that the figure inside is even better. So how about we remove this cardboard obstacle and see what bounties await us. And here we have Ganesha out of packaging, and I have to say this is one impressive figure. From the sculpt, the soft goods, and the sheer amount of detail present on every inch of this thing, this is perhaps one of Four Horsemen Studios' most detailed Figura Obscuras yet. However, I can't help but notice that Ganesha looks a little bare, and that's because we have a whole mess of accessories that we need to put on this guy. So how about we take a look at him? And Ganesha comes with quite the spread. We have about a dozen rings, bracelets, and bangles, an extra pair of arms for Ganesha's four-armed look, 3 extra pairs of hands, a swappable trunk with a bendy wire, an ornate crown, a lotus-inspired base, some offerings of grapes, bananas, apples, and a bowl of modaka, 2 different sized beaded necklaces, an ornate belt, a circle of light halo ornament, a rat, a pasha, and the golden axe known as a parachute. Now getting back to Ganesha, as I said, this figure is oozing with detail. Starting with the top of his head, you can see there's a gradient from a darker gray to a lighter gray, and we're also getting subtle hits of pink. It really helps to elevate the sculpt of that wrinkled skin. The sprays of white that we're getting on Ganesha's face looks like some sort of ceremonial or symbolic paint, indicated by this red Trishul symbol. Now the Trishul is also known as Shiva's trident. It represents Shiva's divine power and cosmic influence, and as a sun, it makes sense that Ganesha would have this symbol running down his face. Just behind that, we get his eyes. We just have some black paint for the pupils. We also get a little more hits of pink as we get towards the tusks, which have also been done incredibly well. And as you can see on the opposite side, he has a broken tusk right here. Now there's a few different stories for the reason why Ganesha has a broken tusk, but the outcomes of those stories show how Ganesha really doesn't take his appearance too seriously, accepting his own imperfections even in his divinity. His pre-posed trunk is made out of a softer plastic that can swivel from side to side, which will break up the paint design, but it can also be swapped out with a bendy wire trunk, which some of you may find more aesthetically pleasing. But because of the metal wire poking out of mine, I'm gonna go back to the original. We have a small elephant mouth right there, and then going back up to the top of his head, we have some big elephant ears. If you look closely, you can see how veins have been subtly sculpted on the surface. We get the wrinkles and folds of how his ear naturally bends under their own weight. And again, I love the extra hits of that lighter tannish pink to give it some real lifelike detail. The best part is too that they're actually articulated, and if you happen to overextend it, they do pop off, but fortunately that peg is sturdy enough that you shouldn't have to worry too much about it breaking on you. And when you couple it with the articulation in his neck, you can really get his head moving all over the place. You can see how he has this ornate chest jewelry. We get a very rich gold paint with some black dry brushing, and then it looks like we're getting extra hits of turquoise and red for those precious stone elements. We also have lines of silver paint for the beads around the gold to help break up the sculpt a little bit. It's not to be outdone by this green sash. It's made out of soft goods fabric, and it has a gold trim running along the side of it. And because of the bendy wire running through it, the lightness of the fabric will ensure it holds its shape no matter what position you bend it in. A very nice touch. It's not attached to anything, so you can remove it, and when you move his jewelry out of the way, you can also see Ganesha's rather impressive gut, which looks even funnier when you compare it to the rest of his muscular build.
Get in my belly!
His big belly represents the ability to digest both the positive and negative forces in our lives, representing calmness and patience in the face of adversity. Just like the rest of his body, we get subtle washes of dark gray and a lighter gray, and then that that wrinkle detail is also present. Moving on to the back, we do have these unsightly gaps that are intended for some of the extra accessories that he comes with, which will really complete his look. Moving on, we get a rather ornate belt with great uses of gold and purple paint along the black dry brushing to really make everything pop. And then we get more red and turquoise as well as silver to help bring out the extra details. Let's not forget about these off-white pearls as well. Just below that, we get Ganesha's traditional pants known as dhoti, and they've been stitched together exceptionally well. I love the richness of this yellowish orange accented by this lighter blue, and then there's a gold stitching as well to bring it all together. And you can roll them up to reveal the sculpt underneath.
Is today leg day?
Ganesha may skip ab day, but he takes leg day very seriously. And then finally, we have these golden anklets that have been sculpted to them, which looks just as nice as all the other jewelry that we've been seeing on his body. And then I really like how we're getting a different shade of paint for the bottom of his feet. It looks very natural. But now it's time for my favorite part, when we hook him up with some of his accessories to make him look even more defined.
You gotta put some bling bling on it though. You know?
Let's start first with these beaded necklaces. We get two different sizes, a smaller one and then a larger one that has two beads sculpted onto it. They're painted using mostly earth tones, but I like how the secondary bead sculpted onto the larger one is a very rich blue color. It's large enough that you can place it on Ganesha by going under his trunk, behind his ears, and then back around his head. There we go. But with the smaller one, you will have to pop his head off, and then you can slip it on that way too. We also get this larger gold band. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, so if there's someone in the comment section who knows better, please let me know. What we can do with this piece is drape it over one shoulder, and it's large enough that it should fit over his head. And then we just get it around his right arm, make sure his trunk isn't covered, and then kind of tuck it behind his ears. Next up, we have about a dozen bangles, bracelets, and rings. We have some that are a bit simpler with this gold paint, others that are still painted in gold but are a little bit more ornate in their details. And then we get different bangles with more flowery designs, more bracelets with some silver beads sculpted around them, and then a few with some inverted colors as well. Now, it is a lot of jewelry for two arms, but fortunately, Ganesha comes with an extra pair of muscular arms to complete his four-armed look. These attach to his back, and as such, will have more space to attach these bracelets, rings, and bangles. And I've got to say, this looks incredibly beautiful. The four-arms attached give them a very cool look, but these bangles and bracelets really make a huge difference. It looks like he just beat the brakes off of Sonic the Hedgehog to get all these rings. And there's no specific pattern that you're supposed to keep, so find the one that you like and have a little bit of fun with it. And with four arms attached, we now have plenty of hands for Ganesha to hold the many accessories he comes with. So let's go ahead and bring in the golden axe known as the parachute and the pasha. Ganesha is often depicted holding these two items, so it makes sense that Four Horsemen included them, and the best part is they'll have no problem fitting in his hands. These two accessories kind of exist on opposite sides of the spectrum. The parachute is more than a weapon in Ganesha's hand, it represents his ability to sever attachments, while the pasha is more like a noose or a lasso used to bind our obstacles. I must say, he looks pretty nice holding them, but I don't think it's fair to have him severing attachments and binding obstacles on an empty stomach. So it's a good thing that it comes with an offering of apples, bananas, and grapes.
Absolutely.
Each of these accessories have been done exceptionally well. I love how the bananas still have some green to it. The apples are incredibly vibrant. We have 3 of them sculpted together. And there's quite a few paint washes going on with the lighter and darker reds. And then as for the grapes, they're just sculpted on a plate. I love the purple that they used. They look very delicious. However, I am surprised that Four Horsemen Studios didn't include the golden mango that was gifted to Ganesha by his parents. That golden mango granted Ganesha both knowledge and wisdom, so it would have been a nice touch. I'm also surprised that they didn't include a bag of peanuts, because as we all know, elephants love peanuts.
Please do not offer my god a peanut.
Alright, but how about modaka? I hear that's Ganesha's favorite. Now, modaka is a sweet dumpling popular in India with an outer shell made out of rice flour that can be steamed or fried with sweet filling on the inside. But more symbolically, it can also represent the rewards of spiritual patience and inner peace. I mean, just check out how well each of these dumplings have been individually sculpted. I love the spiral design that they have to them, and they also feature a little bit of a paint wash that matches the brown bowl that they've been sculpted onto, which also sports a decent amount of detail. You'll also notice that there's a rather large peg hole on the bottom, and that's to accommodate this extra left hand, which has a peg jutting from the palm. You can combine the two and swap it out with Ganesha's other hand, so you never have to worry about this accidentally falling out. Yeah, if I had a dish this good, I wouldn't want to put it down either. Because if you did, rats might get to it.
It's a rat!
it's been sculpted and painted incredibly well, it looks just like what it's supposed to. The first sculpt is also pretty great. According to Mythology, Ganesha is known to ride rats as a form of transportation, demonstrating that it's possible for even the greatest or largest among us to work with the smallest. Now, I don't know about you, but I think Ganesha might have a hard time balancing on this rat, but we'll give it a shot anyway. Alright, let's see if we can do this. Oh my gosh, he's actually doing it. Oh.
I squished it.
But you know what? I think Ganesha would much rather sit down, and that's why it's a good thing Four Horsemen included this base. It features a lot of that gold and silver paint with the black wash that a lot of his jewelry has. It has a really cool spiraled sculpt with a texture to it that makes it look like it's covered in fabric. In any case, if we want, we can get Ganesha to sit down on it, just cross his legs, and get him a rest. Now this pose here is one that you can often find Ganesha depicted in. His foot on the ground symbolizes his connection to the physical world, while his folded leg represents his spirituality. And to round out Ganesha's accessories, he also comes with this crown and this ring of light halo. I love the radial symmetry that we're getting on the top of the crown, as well as the bits of red, silver, teal, and purple here in the center. When we turn it to the underside, as you can see, it has a whole lot of space, and that's so we can fit it right on top of Ganesha's head. Now I must say, the crown fits him good, and it really shows off his divinity. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and attach this ring of light ornament. As you can see, the details are pretty good on the back and front, and it has a rectangular peg that we can use to fill in that gap that I mentioned earlier. Man, just check that out. Very nice. But to complete his look, I do want to switch out his right hand with his open palm.
Talk to the hand.
The open palm facing outwards represents a gesture of reassurance and safety to those who follow Ganesha. You see that? I'm feeling protected already. What the?
I am Ganesha. Reveal to me your obstacle, and I shall remove it.
Whoa, do you seriously mean any obstacle?
Indeed. Simply state what is limiting your spiritual growth, and I shall strip it away.
Seriously, no matter what I say?
Yes.
Okay. Hear me out. Can you do something about these toy prices?
Come again.
Yeah, you know, they're just getting a bit out of control, and I'd like to be able to collect more. You think there's anything you can do to lower them?
I'm sorry. I'm going through a spiritual tunnel.
What? Wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense.
Sorry, can't hear you.
But you just said anything.
Have you considered buying less toys?
That's not something I'm really interested in.
I have to take this call now.
Really?
I have spoken. Ganesha out.
Oh man. Well, I guess on that note, it's time for a size comparison. Ganesha stands over 8 inches tall, especially when you load him up with his crown, and he's a pretty wide figure too. But since he is in the 6-inch scale, Ganesha will fit right in with other cosmic animal-inspired defenders like the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Lost Galaxy Rangers by Hasbro. Here's how he looks next to various size Marvel Legends figure like the Walgreens exclusive Fantastic Four plus Dr. Doom. He's going to be a couple of heads taller than most standard size G.I. Joe classified figures, and because of his size, I think he's going to fit in well with 7-inch figures like the Suicide Squad action figures by McFarlane Toys. He won't fit inside, but he's going to look great standing next to a couple of Robo Skulls by Skeletron. And while Ganesha is not quite as dense, he's almost the same height as the Level 2 and Level 3 Flight Pod Coil Mech upgrades by Gridiron Studios. He's gonna look great standing next to a few other Figura Obscura characters from Four Horsemen Studios like Frankenstein's creature, Sun Wukong, as well as the Egyptian gods Bastet and Anubis. And I think he's also gonna look great next to some NECA 1990 TMNT movie figures. And of course, as always, here's how he looks under black light. And once again, no effect. So as for my final thoughts, Ganesha is not the most action-packed action figure I've ever handled, but he's definitely one of the best designed. This is easily one of the most beautiful figures in my collection. I think Four Horsemen Studios did an amazing job with their interpretation of the beloved Hindu god in a way that not only makes him great as a standalone figure, but also in a way that allows him to blend in seamlessly with their Mythic Legions line. I'm really digging how intricate the soft goods are on this release. The paint detail is top notch, and the accessories like its base, the fruit, the bangles, crown, and other jewelry have been meticulously executed. My only real gripes are the range of articulation, which while standard for a Four Horsemen release, is still a bit limited at times. Also, because of the nature of this figure, it's not really one that I'm compelled to play with in the same way as other action figures in my collection, or other figures in the Figura Obscura line for that matter. But what you are getting is a figure that is a gorgeous cultural centerpiece that will serve as a conversation starter on your shelf. And while I wouldn't recommend this figure to a casual collector, for figureheads like me who enjoy beautiful hunks of plastic that can double as an art piece just as easily as a figure, I think you're really going to appreciate this release a lot. But that'll do it for this review. Thank you guys so much for giving it a watch. Between all the jokes, animation, and background details, I hope you guys found something that was both entertaining and informative. And if you did, be sure to comment, like, and share my video, especially if you think others might enjoy it as well. Be sure to stick around for a gallery at the end, and as always, collect responsibly.